Hi, very good afternoon to everyone. This is the MOE UBSM Digital Education Odyssey series. Our topic for today is education for industry relevance. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is TK Tan. I am the president of IA, and we have two distinguished gentlemen here. We have Lance. Lance is from VLAN. Hi, Lance. And we have Dash. Dash has a very distinguished career. So, and before I go on to introduce both of them, let me just say a few words about my organization. IA, Internet Alliance Malaysia, is actually an association for tech entrepreneurs that groups together that provides digital service. And we have all the top players in the cloud, hostings, e-payment, e-commerce, DC, and digital solutions. And my daily job is actually, I'm the founder of Kinetics, managed IT service provider, and also we manage a lot of websites to 5,000 resellers in over 60 countries. Okay, and today the topics that we have is very close to our hearts. How do we link education with industry? And we have Lance Chong. He will bring us to the topic of pivots towards industry relevance. Okay, let me start off with introduce who is Lance. Lance is actually an experienced serial entrepreneur who has gone through just a total of 9 months before he started his first business at the age of 22. Since graduating from Sunway with a degree in computer science, coupled with MBA in Preston University, he has actually started several businesses in the past 17 years and currently owns and manages 4 different companies in technology, service, and business and technology consultancy. He currently employs young and energetic individuals to manage engagement in 7 countries across Asia, and is pioneering in and leading Microsoft Cloud Service Provider in the SME space. He's one of the MDEX certified companies credited for being the first partner in Asia for Zendex. Zendex is actually a complete cloud-based solution for help desk, and also remains the only Zendesk partner in Malaysia. The same company is also credited to be the first system integration partners for HubSpot, that is a cloud CRM, and as well as Zero cloud accounting systems in Southeast Asia. Lance is also part of the group of consultants who coaches identify growth companies in various business areas, primary company strategic directions, digitizations, and for the business processes and technology adoptions. He regularly consults local SMEs on business strategies and technology road mapping, frequently facilitating business strategy planning summits. Okay, over to you, Lance.
Wow, that's a very long introduction. Thanks for the introduction, TK. I'm also a member of IA, by the way. Thanks for joining me today in my session today. Today, I am actually going to be talking about pivoting into industry relevance. It might seem like a little bit of a heavy topic, but it's quite simple actually. In the end, everybody wants to make sure that what they are studying and what they are doing is actually going to be relevant when they come out and work, right? So you need to ensure that whatever that you do, whatever that you learn, can be used when you actually start work, right? Now, there are actually a few, very few important things that I feel that someone actually needs to stay relevant in any industry. 2 are fairly easily learnable. Another 2 are slightly harder, but of course there's going to be a lot more, but these are the few that I value personally, right? So the first 2 is actually about customers. What do I mean about that? So now, the first 2 skills is quite easy for anybody to pick up, both of which apply to anybody in any industry because it cuts across all sectors, be it whether you're in commercial, whether or not you're working with government agencies. What I'm referring to are customers, right? Because for as long as you are working, you are dealing with a customer, be it an internal customer or an external customer. External customers are when the person that you're dealing with is actually paying you and your organization for a service or a product, right? But an internal customer is where you're dealing with someone else in the company or in the organization who is relying on you to get his or her work done, right? For example, let's say if I'm a salesperson living off my sales commission, right? And I sell products on behalf of the company. My external customer may be the person I'm selling the product to, but my internal customers perhaps is my sales manager who is relying on me to provide him with all the data, the sales data, so that he can report to his boss about the department's overall performance. Or for example, in a company, the finance or accounts department, the internal customers can be the salesperson, because that salesperson is reliant on an invoice that is to be sent out and paid before the salesperson can get the commissions, right? So knowing how to identify the type of customer you are dealing with will greatly impact the way you deal with the people across the aisle, right? Now, so the first skill that you really need to know is how to manage your customer. Know who are your customers and how to manage your customer. When you're in school, you don't really learn how to deal with an irate customer. Neither do you actually learn how to be grateful for a good customer, right? Regardless if whether or not it's an internal or an external customer. In a highly personalized society right now, right, knowing the customer's preference, or whether or not he likes coffee or tea, if you're in the restaurant industry, is actually very important. Understanding his or her preference over accuracy, over speed, will actually greatly impact the output of your results, right? So in the second, the second hard skill that I see lacking, right, is actually understanding of systems that can actually help a customer. All right, what are the kind of systems that you can actually use to manage your customer better? I'm talking about customer relationship management system, CRMs they call it. If there's something that you can pick up before you graduate, if you ask me, is to learn how to use a CRM. Because I guarantee you, right, all organizations right now need someone to manage a CRM, whether or not you are a school, whether or not you are university, whether or not you're a sales company, you're an accounting firm, somebody's doing sales, somebody's managing customers, you need to manage your customers, right? So especially now, again, like I said, in a highly personalized world, if I'm a customer who will be happy if I walk into a cafe and my coffee is ready for me, right? Or if, let's say, my subordinates know what kind of reports that I want in what order, because that's how I'm supposed to present it to the boss, right? Systems actually can help you organize all of these details centrally, so you won't really have to look anywhere else for information. The worst if those information that you're looking for that your predecessor already left the organization. Customer experience systems really help you communicate with your customers effectively, especially if they are more comfortable using the mode of communications that they are comfortable in. Because now again with personalization, where everybody has their own way of communicating, some people like to use Facebook, some people like to use Twitter, some people like to use Instagram, WhatsApp, WeChat, you name it, right? So there's all sorts of different channels that a lot of people use. So how do you manage customer experience? How do you manage the customer that you are engaging with? So you need to know a system. So if there's one skill that you should learn before you actually start work somewhere, it's learn something simple like a CRM, how to manage your customer. So to recap, the first of two, how to manage a customer, and the second one is to understand the system that can help you manage that customer. Now, the third and fourth thing is slightly more complicated now, but it's not. Am I talking about? I'm talking about leadership. I'm not exactly an expert in the topic, but leadership is both actually a research area. It's also a practical skill, where the ability of a person or a group or organization to lead or influence and guide individuals, teams, or another organization. To me, leadership is actually very simple. It's about your ability to take action to help the person next to you to be the best person, to actually bring out the best in the other person, to the best of your ability, of course. So when you help that other person, naturally that person will actually follow you. Because being a leader is for someone else to trust you. Which is why we find it sometimes very difficult to trust politicians, right? Because we know through their words and actions that they've betrayed our trust. It's actually very easy to tell who are the leaders and whom are not, just by their actions. So how do you learn this skill? It's easy, just help somebody without expecting anything in return. And then one way or another, you without even realizing it, you actually have a following without even realizing it. Because real leaders don't care about authority. Their sole purpose is actually to serve. John Kennedy said, right, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. Leaders lead not to serve those above them, they lead to serve those who serve them. The truly effective and inspiring leaders, right, aren't actually driven to lead people. They're actually driven to serve people, and definitely not to profit from them, right? Right? Now, then help someone. It's very simple. And finally, the last thing I want to share about is grit. What is grit? Grit is actually a positive non-cognitive trait based on someone's perseverance of effort combined with the passion to reach an end state. Very long explanation. It's actually a very powerful motivator to achieve an objective, actually. Studies actually show that grit can be a better predictor of success than intellectual talent, because it serves as the overriding factor, right, that actually gives you the stamina required to pivot and adapt when facing challenges and setbacks. If you don't, but you don't get gritty overnight. It's a trait that you pick up over time, learning, pain, hardship, right? What really sets you apart is how far you go to actually see success and not quit along the way. If you ask me, sports is actually a very good way of instilling grit from the young. Sure, you get a medal from winning, right? But you actually learn a lot by losing, how to pick yourself up after failing and train even harder to win the next time. If you lose, keep training until you win, right? Dealing with a customer is actually the same. You don't quit after dealing with one nasty customer, right? You keep going and going and going. Dealing with a boss is also the same. So you don't quit after just one reprimand. You continue to improve yourself and keep going. So a career is really like climbing a mountain, right? Whether someone chooses a career in entrepreneurship or as an employee, at the top of the mountain is where everybody wants to go. But you still need to climb that mountain, right? And there's no shortcut. It's a very long and very arduous, and grit will actually see you through some of these setbacks and allow you to adapt to changing circumstances. So to recap, right, there are 4 things that I feel are important and it's very relevant to any industry and career today. Number 1 is to know your customer. Number 2 is to know how to manage your customers using systems. These are the 2 easiest things to do. The third and fourth is actually a little harder, where you need to learn that leadership in its simplest form, which is to help someone. And finally, grit. Know which mountain that you are climbing. Don't quit easily. Keep reinventing until you reach the version of the peak that you can be proud of. That's it from me. So from here, I'll pass it back to you, TK.
Thanks, Lance. 4 great points. In fact, each of these points can speak for a volume of a book. Know your customers, manage them well, have leaderships and grit. I still remember that very well. I read a book about grit and how I wish I learned all this during my school days. And yeah, really, the modern world is full of uncertainties. Whether the school actually prepare us well for facing all this uncertainty and changes in life. Our next topics is very much dealing with that. Entrepreneurship reimagined, and we have Dash. Dash has a very distinguished career. Dash is actually an alumnus of Judge Business School, Cambridge University, and Edinburgh Business School, and has been a startup ecosystem for more than 2 decades. He is a recipient for US State Department's prestigious IVLP fellowships on entrepreneurship. And Dash currently mentor early stage entrepreneurs, both locally and globally, and facilitate programs on building ventures and design thinking. Dash is the judge for MIT Review, Innovators Under 35, and a founding board member for Allied for Startups, a EU-based policy group for startups. Dash was the founding directors of Silicon Valley-based accelerator program, the Founder Institute, and runs the Perth chapter for 2 years. In Malaysia, Dash is the founder of Startup Malaysia, a very famous organization. And under this company, Dash has organized and ran many world-class programs to seed entrepreneurships and help early stage startups launch ventures. So over to you, Dash.
Thank you very much, TK, for having me on this program. I think one thing I forgot to write in my profile is that Dash has had more failures than successes. Maybe I should have added that. Yeah, I think sometimes we write profiles to make ourselves look too good, but actually behind all these successes, there are so much more failures, right? And that's what Lance talked about, grit and leadership and going through. And one doesn't get to where one is without some level of grit. I don't have the grit that the young Lance have, but somewhat. Yeah, today I just want to talk about uncertainty. The world is an uncertain place, a lot of uncertainty around us. The COVID pandemic has thrown us haywire. Many businesses are brought to their knees because of this. Students going into graduating are having a lot of anxiety. They don't know what to do, whether their degrees are going to be useful. The world is rapidly changing. A lot of businesses are asking themselves, what do I do next? Can I even plan? I don't even know whether my restaurant, I was just made so much money, put up so much money to open this restaurant. Now it's all gone into a lockdown, 2 years almost. So many businesses, the travel industry, the tourist people who are organizing, everything has come to a grinding halt. What should one do next? And a lot of people say, is the pandemic a black swan event? A black swan event meaning something that happens all of a sudden, not predicted. It is not, according to Nassim Taleb, the founder of the writer of the book Black Swan. He says 64 over pandemics has happened before, and there will be more coming soon. So it is about uncertainty. The world is about uncertainty. And what should we do? And what are the skills that we should build for our young people? What should institutions think about in building the next generation of people? What are the skill sets one should have? So these are things that I quickly want to talk about. How did we get here? How did we get to this level of uncertainty and using the technological landscape? So a little bit of history, human history about progress. Yeah, so we have been, somewhat, what shall I say? Life has been somewhat, the trajectory has been rather slow and predictable for many, many years, from the beginning of our civilization until the 20th century. Our progress has been exponential. The growth has been completely exponential. And if you look at this, where do you think you will end up? That's what we predicted our life. And then suddenly there's an exponential growth. All our education system, all the programs that we've gone to, our MBA programs, is all about prediction. I can forecast the future. I can make sure that this is how I predict the future. All the business plans we've written actually is become about predicting the business. But world is not the same anymore, and today we found that even the Inc. 500 companies don't write that many business plans anymore. So part of it is because of technology, since technology has created this exponential growth, unprecedented over, which actually makes all of us learners, all of us, are in a kind of starting from ground zero at every point a new technology comes. Okay, this basically goes on to show that. But I mean, take a look at this, Lake Michigan, and the volume of Lake Michigan when you drop water and our brains, when technology is taking over, how quickly the algorithms can take over the brain functions and predict and do a lot of things that we can do. So why did we get to this place? How did this happen? It's basically two reasons. One is the Moore's law says that computing power doubles every 18 months as price drops. And Kurzweil's law that says that every civilization or every community actually builds on the previous community's advancements and innovation and grows at an exponential phase. So if you look at this, that the 21st century will achieve 1,000 times the progress of 20th century. And this is really no joke or science fiction. Yeah, we never thought 3 months ago Richard Branson will fly into space. Now he's made space tourism something that is going to happen. is going to be something always can happen. Look at this. It says World Economic Forum says we are moving fast and nobody knows where we are going. So essentially, that's what the world is coming to. No one can predict. There is also the end of forecasting, and in my conversation with Lance just now, he says now it's about nowcasting, right? So what does it mean? The pandemic. Okay, the pandemic again has become an accelerant. A machi who sells goreng pisang about 2 years ago, she didn't care about going online, and today she's asking, how can I put this on Instagram? How can I go on online platform? How can I serve my customer? How can I get out? So the pandemic has really become an accelerant in many ways. It also has decimated many older business models, and entrepreneurs and startups are now shocked. Say, oh, what do I pivot now? Where do I go next? And there's a lot of distress among younger people. So now the idea is to say yes to uncertainty. Uncertainty is the only certainty now. Universities, which were selling programs or face-to-face programs today are saying that, hey, what can I do? I have this beautiful campus. What can I do now? And that's what it is now. Now you can learn online. A lot of stuff can be learned online. So now each and every university have a global audience, that they can sell to. So what is it that the skill sets that one should need? Nassim Taleb again says, don't aim to be perfect, but aim to be anti-fragile. So today, being robust or all the other thing is out of the window. It's about being anti-fragile. What does anti-fragile mean? Anti-fragile means, according to Nassim Taleb again, is the art of becoming better with change, with chaos, with complexity. You benefit from that. You do not just break from that, but you benefit from that. And so the impact of uncertainty and the future of work. These are grave. Looks grave, but look at it. Yeah, there's huge amount of retrenchments that's been happening globally, even without the pandemic. Okay, look what the pandemic has done is brought these things, this uncertainty at a micro level. The world has always been an uncertain place, the economic turmoils and whatever, but now at a micro level, at the individual level, we are coming face to face with the uncertainty. People are losing jobs. Okay, and looking at this, impact of jobs. And if you look at these things very carefully, you see that the more human you are, the more social and emotional skills that you develop, then you have better chance of surviving in this world. So I've got to say that, look at what Gary Kasparov, the grandmaster of chess, says. Anything we can do and we know how to do it, machines will do it better. If we can codify it and pass it to the computers will do it better. The Economist, an older issue said more than 1 billion people will enter the global labor market in the next decade. And only 40% will work on the jobs that currently exist. 60% will need to become job creators. The jobs don't exist at the moment. So what are the future skills? What are the skills of the future? What should we teach our young? What should education institutes teach? What should leaders teach the young people? What should we look at moving forward? So how does one act in an uncertain world? Okay, so these two guys are saying that all humans are born entrepreneurs. So the skill set that we are looking at is an entrepreneurial mindset, an anti-fragile and an entrepreneurial mindset. They say that all humans are entrepreneurs, not because they should start companies, but because the will to create is encoded in the human DNA. So, hey, what is this Dash saying? That it's an uncertain world. And then you are saying that we become entrepreneurial. Are you saying all of us should leave our jobs and go and start companies? No, that's not what I'm saying. See, entrepreneurship and being entrepreneurial in a broader context means an agency to act, an agency to change things, an agency to make things happen. It does not just mean you go out and start a company. Of course, part of being an entrepreneur is to start a company. But before economics was framed, human beings have always acted, human beings have always done stuff, had the agency to create. So that's what it is. So entrepreneurship today is about embracing uncertainty. How do you embrace uncertainty? Embracing uncertainty is all about embracing entrepreneurial mindset. And what if you, there was a study done by Saraswati, which basically says that what do entrepreneurs do on a day in, day out basis? They embrace uncertainty. When you launch a startup, you do not know whether it's going to be successful. So she studied the minds of all these so-called expert entrepreneurs and found that being entrepreneurial is one way of, a big way of embracing uncertainty. Finally, when we take an individual or MSMEs or micro entrepreneurs or all of us, the day-to-day people, we have less ability to predict the future, but we have a lot of control over what we can do, how we can act on. And that's what I'm suggesting as a way forward, that we have always done this, that to start anything, which is a natural human trait, look at the child, it's in our DNA. We can act and we will fail a little bit, but we fail small and we learn from the failure and we can act again. So essentially, being an entrepreneurial person or an entrepreneurial mind is about someone saying that, hey, I would like to do something. I do not know whether I will succeed, but I do not want to put all my eggs in one basket, but I will start something small. Let's say a person who has run a spa or a salon, now you can't do. I want to do something different. Maybe I want to sell hair care products. So I want to test something small to sell so that I can survive. You don't have to take all your savings and put it there. You start small. You say, maybe I can test this to a small group of people. I may fail, but I can learn from that failure and can act again. That is basically what being entrepreneurial and being an entrepreneurial mindset person does. I'm happy to take questions. I know there's a lot of information I've presented here. So Saraswati says, one way to mitigate uncertainty is through action. You can transform uncertainty into opportunity by shaping and co-creating your environment with others who self-select to work with you. And essentially, that's what it is. You can go and be a world maker. And that's my presentation for today.
Thank you, Dash. Any words, that wisdom that you I mean, we are running short of time, so any words of wisdoms that you want to share with our audience today before we do this wrap up?
Yeah, I think if the audience, if there is a way, they can have a broader view of what entrepreneurship is, that it is about an agency to act. I think teaching students entrepreneurship does not necessarily mean teaching them to start companies. That is very important. Secondly, is to learn how to be anti-fragile, to benefit from uncertainty and say yes to uncertainty. That's all.
Yeah.
So for myself, I mean, right now, you look at the job market, right? So many people are being retrenched. So what's the future of work? If you ask me, a lot of people have to reskill. Last time, actually, even before the year 2000, right? There's this job called a stenographer. Nowadays, nobody even knows what the heck is a stenographer anymore. You're probably just Googling it right now, what's a stenographer. So jobs changes all the time. So people need to change all the time as well. So if you ask me, what are the youth's prospects for jobs right now? If you are equipped with what you learn in school, you need to learn something new, because whatever that you learn in school is not going to be enough to sustain you. You're going to have to learn something new, something that the industry really needs, because what you have now will not be good enough for you to get a job these days.
Right. Thank you very much. We are running short of times. If you have more questions, we will probably respond through emails. The organizer will get back to you. And gentlemen, my great pleasure to have you in the panel. Thank you for all your insights, all the informations, all the wisdom that you shared today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great honor to be here.
Yeah. Thank you.